Welcome back to Mangala Cognition. We are going to look into the issue of bid'ah or innovation in Islam or religion. The hadith in Sunan Abu Dawud and some other books generally discourage and give stern warning against following innovation. You can read those hadith there says that every bid'ah is misguidance or every bid'ah is error and every error is in hell. Usually every Wahhabi, Deobandi, Sunni mosques, they cite this hadith in the Jummah or Friday sermon and warn people about bid'ah while the Jummah prayer itself is bid'ah. Because Jummah has to be established Jummah must be established according to original Sharia in the Muslim land, in the Islamic state or caliphate, or where the Muslim rulers are ruling like as kings or sultans, not where non-Muslim countries. The establishment of Jummah in a non-Muslim country, non-Islamic country, is actually an innovation that was not recommended or practiced by the earliest Muslims. And the Jummah has to be established by who? The Caliph or the leader of the Muslim community, the legitimate leaders, the rulers. It cannot be established by a religious denomination or an organization or a mosque committee. That's a self-appointed Jummah. Even according to Hanafi Madhab, you can look Kitab al-Athar of Imam Abu Hanifa. Such Jummah has no legitimacy in Hanafi school of jurisprudence. But strangely, the Quran accepts the bid'ah or innovation of the people of the book, the Christians. That's very interesting. Quran doesn't have showing no disrespect to the innovation of Christians. So first the Quran says the Christian people of the gospel judged by what Allah has revealed therein. So the innovation in Christianity, it is accepted by the Quran, it's not condemned by the Quran, but it is accepted. This is a shocking thing for the Wahhabis and Salafis. So the bid'ah of Wahhabis, Sunnis, the Sunni world is condemned in the hadiths. Says the best discourse is the book, God's book, and the best guidance is given by Muhammad, and the worst things are those which are novelties, and every innovation is error. This hadith is quoted by all Islamic Sunni groups in the mosques on a Friday to the people who are already engaged in bid'ah. The mosque is bid'ah. The Friday Jummah prayer or Friday congregational prayer is bid'ah. And they just condemn themselves. They just expose or refute themselves by citing this hadith. And this hadith is an extended version of the same hadith. This is we found in the 40 hadith Nawawi from Sunan Abu Dawud. The Prophet said that you must then follow my sunnah and that of the rightly guided caliphs. Hold to it and stick fast to it. Avoid novelties, for every novelty is an innovation and every innovation is an error. فَإِنَّ كُلَّ مُحَدَّثَةٍ بِدْعَةٍ وَكُلُّ بِدْعَةٍ ضَلَالَةٍ. Dalala you can relate to the chapter of the Quran, chapter 1 verse 7. غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. Dalala, they are the same thing, means every innovation is astray. So the first book, ayat in the Quran, Surah Fatiha says, guide us to the straight path, the path of those whom you bestowed your favor, not the path of those who invoke your anger or those who are gone astray. So this is the statement. Today you have the Jummah prayers like the Pentecostal churches. Every Islamic group, they open a mosque or an institute everywhere, even restaurants start prayer, Islamic prayer. Universities have Jummah, Friday Islamic prayer. Shopping mall have a Friday Islamic prayer, Jummah prayer. So this is a big joke because this all innovation, because the Prophet established Jummah prayer only in the mosques. So in the mosque or masjid or masajid means the plural of mosque or masjid, where the imam, if there is no space in the masjid, there can have only extra Jummah. You cannot have more than one Jummah in a town due to tribalism, nationalism, sectarianism. Racism means racism in the sense you cannot establish Jummah based on your race, your nationality, your caste or your tribal affiliation. You have Pakistani Jummah, Bangladeshi Jummah, Cockney community Jummah, means people from Konkan area, the Jummah of Indians, the Jummah of black people, the Jummah of Nigerians, the Friday prayer of Somalians, Bangladeshis, Jummah prayer based on your sectarian denominations. All these are false Friday prayers. This has no legitimacy or validity according to Quran and Hadith. Because the Quran commands, hold fast the rope of Allah together, do not be divided. Regardless of which denomination or group people are locally, they should pray their congregational prayers together, and they should not add any of their doctrinal differences into their prayers or worship or sermons. They should only preach what is in the Quran and what is in the Hadith. They should not bring their theological or school of differences inside into the prayer. They should not innovate it. To keep the unity, even Hassan ibn Ali is only the legitimate caliph after Ali. He left his caliph, the office of caliph, and he handed over to Muawiyah because he became a murderer. So he wanted to stop Muawiyah from waging more war, civil war in Islam and murdering Muslims. So Hassan ibn Ali, the grandson of Prophet, he gave up his authority for the unity of Muslims to Amir Muawiyah to become the caliph. This is a best example for the Muslims who are fighting each other for theological or sectarian differences and making fitna. They should understand this. So there can be serious theological problem like with Wahhabis and others that you can't reconcile with, but there are Sunni Bangladeshis and Sunni Pakistani, you can pray together, you don't need different mosques. But your prayers are innovation according to Quran and Hadith and according to Hanafi Mazhab. So you have no legitimate right, no stand to accuse heresy, blasphemy or apostasy on Mawla cognition, because you yourself will become exposed. You will be humiliated. I am warning you again and again. Mind your business, listen and obey. Don't come to argue. Come to learn, to listen. So the point is the Bible speaks similar thing about following innovation. For example, Mark 7:7 to 7:9. Verse 7 and 9 in Mark 7. Matthew 14:9 is about following human tradition rather than following the teachings of Christ and the commands of God. Colossians 2:8. Apostle Paul is saying, do not let anyone take you captive by empty philosophy and human tradition that rely on the humans and elemental spirits of the world rather than on Christ. So this is also speaking about innovation. But strangely, the Quran approve, acknowledge and accept the innovation of Christians. Quran chapter 57 verse 27 says, we sent following their footsteps our messengers and followed them with Jesus, son of Mary, and gave him the gospel. And we placed in the hearts of those who followed him compassion and mercy and monasticism which they innovated. We did not prescribe it for them except that they did so seeking the approval of Allah. But they did not observe it with due observance. Means they were falling to observe monasticism, celibacy, monasticism, etc. So we gave the one who believed among them their reward. But many of them are defiantly disobedient. So here Allah is speaking about monasticism, which is an innovation. Means Allah or God Almighty, the Lord, did not prescribe the monasticism. But they started it seeking more spiritual control, self-control, asceticism, to become a monastic, to be cloistered in monasteries, become monks. So the Quran is praising their effort, but they failed to observe with the right observance. But the Quran is praising them. And Quran also says they innovated monasticism. Then chapter 5 verse 82 Quran again says, you will find the most intense of the people in animosity toward the believers to be Jews and those who are pagans. And you will find the nearest of them in affection to the believers, those who say we are Christian. That is because among them are priests and monks, and they are not arrogant. So monks means people of monastic life, they are called monks. Similarly, in Islam you would see Sufi monasteries, Sufi orders practice monasticism, so many of the Sufi groups, like Khalwat, seclusion, and lots of spiritual austerities. The Wahhabis scream at Sufis, not understanding that Kullun amana billahi wa malaikati kutubihi la nufariqu baina ahadin. We do not distinguish between any of the messengers. So the followers of Christ are not condemned for following innovation, but followers of Prophet Muhammad are condemned by Prophet Muhammad and Allah for following or initiating innovation. And the Wahhabis are like rabid dogs who caught rabies, attacking Sufis and people of asceticism, zuhud. So the Quran is praising the Christians again, being close to the Muslims who have priests and monastic monks. They are Orthodox and Catholics. Whether it is Western monasticism or Eastern monasticism or Orthodox monasticism, we'll find this in the mainstream Christianity in 7th century and before. So many of the monastic monks, the very well known in the Catholic and Orthodox tradition, they lived between 200 AD to 500 AD. And the Prophet came at late 500 AD and up to 635, 37 AD. So this is what the Quran is saying. So look at the difference between the grace and forgiveness and overlooking is given to the people of the gospel, and the condemnation given to the Muslims who make innovation. So the more who received more grace, the people of the gospel. And the Quran is also calling them Salihin. Whenever Quran say Ahlul Kitab, that include both Christians and Jews, not just Jews. So chapter 3 verse 113 it says, they are not all the same among the people of the scripture in a community, standing reciting the verses of Allah during periods of the night and prostrating in prayer. The Quran continued to say in the chapter 3 verse 114 that they believe in Allah, means God the Father, and the last day. They enjoin what is right and forbid what is wrong. Means in Christianity there is no taking war captives and having raping or molesting them, or having concubines or multiple wives, polygamy. Christianity is much more spiritually disciplined and less worldly and less materialistic than any Judaism or Islam. Jesus says, my kingdom is not of this world. It is not even about establishing earthly kingdoms or fighting for the earthly kingdoms. No. Although there are Christendom and Christian countries, the Christian spirituality is most oriented with either marrying one wife or living in monastic or mystical life. So this ayat says, chapter 3 verse 114, they believe in Allah on the last day and they are among the righteous, means Salihin. Salihin are the top ranked believers apart from Prophet Siddiqeen, means, and Shuhada, means the martyrs. The next is Salihin, chapter 4 verse 69 of the Quran. So even the Christians are counted among the Muslims as Salihin, those who believe in Allah last day and command good and forbid evil. They enjoin what is right and forbid what is wrong and hasten to do good deeds, charity, caring and helping and empathetic to all people. Christians are known for this. And they are among Salihin. This is a terrible ayat against Wahhabis and other extremist Muslim groups who call Christians kafir and mushrik. It is impossible to call Christians polytheist or idolaters or mushrik, kafir or infidel. Quran is an evidence against you. So Allah, the hadith curse innovators, Allah curse innovators, angels curse innovators. But the Christians are not cursed, although they innovated monasticism. And they have priests and monks among them, and they are praying, and they are even among the rank of Salihin. Quran chapter 5:68 again saying, O people of the scripture, you are standing on nothing until you uphold the Torah and the gospel and what has been revealed to you from your Lord. So apart from Torah and gospel, what has been revealed to you from your Lord, that include the New Testament books and the books of the prophets as in the Old Testament. Because after Torah and gospel and what is revealed to you from your Lord, that means the revealed to the books other than the books of the prophets, which is the books of apostles, the teachings of apostles, because Christ commissioned the apostles. And this ayah, this verse in the Quran again gives a severe blow on those people who claim all other books are abrogated and only the Quran and Sunnah remain as the only legitimate way. So every innovation is not misguidance. The Wahhabis misquote this. Every innovation is not misguidance or error. There are good innovations. Just like the Quran is giving the good innovations, evidence of good innovation from Christians. And they are still counted as the righteous people in the Quran, all despite their being in, and they are even called people who are close to the Muslims, close to the believers, because they have priests and monks among them and they are not arrogant. This all proving that all innovations, as the square head Wahhabis say, all innovations are not misguidance or error. So there should be a different meaning for this hadith about novelties or innovation, and every innovation being error have a different context. It is misunderstood by the Wahhabis and those who imitate Wahhabis. Because as I showed you in the Quran, there's direct evidence. Christians, although they are innovated certain things, they are not called transgressors, but the Quran, Allah is praising them. But saying that they did not observe it in its perfect observance. Square-head Wahhabis, they will find even issue in counting on the tasbih prayer beads, Islamic rosary, or reciting certain number of the verses of the Quran or certain amount of number of zikr in counting or remembrance of God's name. They find it very offensive. They say the Sufis are innovating Christians and Jews. The Quran is okay with the Christians being innovating monasticism and those kind of thing. So who misunderstood the hadith about innovation? The Wahhabis and the Deobandis, those who follow them. So the Christians are close to Muslims, that's because among them are priests and monks. Monks or monastic people, which is an innovation according to this ayat in the Quran, chapter 57 verse 27. But Allah is accepting it, although they didn't observe correctly. And Allah also gave them the reward. That's what it says there. But according to Hadith, innovators' actions are not accepted, whether obligatory or voluntary. This is the Hadith here, you can read. It is something serious to make an innovation in it. There is upon him curse of Allah and that of angels and of all people. Allah will not accept from him on the day of resurrection either obligatory acts or supererogatory acts. It's about people who follow innovation. Similar hadith you can find here. Another hadith you can find here. Whoever innovates in it an heresy or commit a sin or give shelter to an innovator in it will incur the curse of Allah, the angels and all the people. None of his compulsory or optional good deeds or worship will be accepted. The asylum granted by any Muslim is to be secured by all other Muslims. So people of innovators, even they go and pray in Mecca or Medina, their worship is not accepted. You can read the same hadith again. But the action of the Christians who innovated monasticism, it is accepted by Allah. And the people of the which means Christian and Jews, they believe in Allah and last day and they enjoy what is right and forbid what is wrong. And they are among the righteous. Ulaika minas salihin. So this is the verses we read before. So if the Christians are among salihin, they are in the favor of Allah. They are among the siratul ladhina an'amta alayhim. Whoever obeys Allah and Messenger, those will be with the ones whom Allah has bestowed favor of the prophets, the steadfast affirmers of truth, the martyrs and the righteous, means the Salihin. Wahasuna ulaika rafiqa, that's what I say. The best of company are they, means there will be Christians in paradise who are monks and priests who stand in the night in the prayers and recitation of the gospel or Torah. They command good and forbid evil and believe in Allah and last day. And they are monastic Christians, they are priests, and they are close to the Muslims, not just in this world, in the hereafter. Even many Muslims will be below their rank, means so many Muslims are not Salihin, cannot be called Salihin. So they will be among Salihin and they will be better than many Muslims. So those informations are giving a large, huge strike blow upon Wahhabis, other literalist Maturidi and Ashari, Sunni clones, Salafi clones, Deobandi clones and all other factions in Islam. These verses are a clear evidence against them, not for them. They are just dividing themselves among on simple matters, claim bidah, haram, shirk, kufr, like this, screaming like wild dogs. You know, these dogs, stray dogs in the streets, they move like packs. And the jungle dogs, the wild dogs, they move like packs and they even attack lions. But they don't hunt alone. So those kind of cowardly religious groups, they must wake up. Islam is not a narrow path, the actual Islam. But you guys has been twisting and tampering things, making your own satellite version of Islam. Each sect have their own satellite, like each country has their own satellite. Like Elon Musk has his satellite. So we must wake up and understand this, all giving direct, clear evidence against all so-called theologies, doctrines and philosophies in Islam and even in other religions. We must wake up and understand the truth. The truth will set you free. Wassalamun al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.